A big problem in a small town, how Fulton police are working to crack down on meth crimes. The state of Rock Island, what big changes people who live there could see in 2020. And one local nonprofit is branching out to share its cause, how every new follow on social media could make our environment a little bit better. Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
WHBF is local for you. This is Local 4 News at 5.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Redrick Terry. Thanks for joining us for Local 4 News at 5. Jim and Ann have the evening off. Let's get to your top story now. Meth is becoming a big problem for one small town in Illinois. What Fulton police are doing to crack down on it is the top story at 5 o'clock. Police say it's a problem impacting the entire community, and it's not going anywhere. They've already made 5 arrests since December 13th. Local 4's Aaliyah Sims has more now in their efforts to make Fulton a safer place for families.
Police all over the Quad Cities are working to keep meth like this off the streets.
It's definitely a major problem.
A problem not only in small town Fulton, but all over. Tracking illegal drug trends is difficult, almost as unpredictable as the high that comes with them. Yet small police departments across the Quad Cities are trying to understand them better to fight crime and to stay safe on the streets.
It's not going away. We had 107 methamphetamine-related arrests in 2018, where in 2019 we only had 18.
Investigation Sergeant Nick Neblung says the lower number of arrests doesn't mean the problem is going away. He says in 2018, police were in a position of better staffing, and that played a big part.
We were full staff there for a portion of 2018. During that time, we were able to go out and enforce, a lot of the laws, the traffic laws.
Their police dog Waz was also added to the team.
We're full staffed for the first time in over a year. So we're trying to get back into the swing of things, get back into that staffing influx.
Neblung says whenever meth comes into a community, it brings with it illegal activity.
Right now, about anything that goes on, whether it be a theft of a motor vehicle or a theft of a purse or a retail theft, just in our community alone, we can directly tie all of this back to methamphetamine use.
In Fulton, Aaliyah Sims, Local 4 News.
Authorities say most of the meth arrests come from traffic stops. They say it's important to lock your vehicles and keep your belongings secure as well. A 15-year-old is in big trouble after this. This accident happened Saturday around 9 in Sterling. Illinois State Police say the 15-year-old lost control on an icy Interstate 39 and slid under this Walmart semi. The driver was cited for several things, including no license or permit and no insurance. 41-year-old Kevin Lawrence was a passenger in that car. He was ticketed for allowing an unauthorized person to drive. They were both treated for minor injuries. Remember to forward it to Local 4 if you see news happening around you. You do that by downloading the free Our Quad Cities app. You can get notifications for breaking news and also share stories you want to see highlighted here on Local 4. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Rock Island's mayor is looking back at the successes of 2019 while looking ahead to 2020. Mayor Mike Tomes gave his annual State of the City address at the Quad City Botanical Center today. Tomes says last year several new commercial businesses moved to Rock Island and existing businesses expanded at their current locations. He says this resulted in more than $30 million in capital investment by private companies, adding hundreds of jobs. That being said, Tomes says there is still room to grow.
There is ways to bring some bigger businesses into Rock Island. It may not be retail big business. It may be industrial type. And when I say big, more in the industrial side, we call it small to medium size. But for the city here, it'd be large. But we've had great successes last year with it, with Agri Solutions, with GTI, to give an example of 2 larger ones making moves to Rock Island.
Tomes says the inspections department will also work hard to make sure both new construction and existing buildings meet code and are safe. Illinois lawmakers are proposing a bill that calls for schools to add sexting to their sex education classes. The proposal would affect students from grades 6 through 12. Noelle Forty reports.
I think schools make a bad decision if they don't teach etiquette on using their phones and social media Yeah, they need to do that. It's such a big part of the students' lives now.
Julia Johnson, a parent, thinks it's important that teens know the consequences of sending these kinds of messages.
If you scare them when you talk about the dangers of sexting, maybe that's enough to keep them from doing it.
Because these kinds of images can come back to haunt you.
What's posted online can't stay there forever. And that's part of the educating of kids that are 6th, 7th, and 8th grade and in high school that, you know, once it's there, there's no erasing it.
Dr. Bill Mordock, principal of Little Flower School, says his school has been teaching this for years.
It's important because social media, internet use is such a big, important part of students' lives.
And Mordock says sometimes children can get pictures without even meaning to.
Adults are getting kind of savvy about how they sometimes prey on kids in terms of setting up these what look to be child-friendly, innocuous apps. But what they do, they're sly, and they send in these messages that just come in out of nowhere.
Which is why parents take precautions at home.
Definitely monitoring them. I had all the passwords. I checked things every night.
That's Noel 40 reporting. And a study in the American Medical Association shows 15% of teenagers say they've sent a sexual text. Meanwhile, Iowa lawmakers went back to work in Des Moines today for the first session of the new decade. Lawmakers say they've heard Iowans' concerns on the workforce shortage, child care costs, and taxes, and they're ready to meet those challenges. It is an election year, of course, for lawmakers, so voters will decide whether or not to keep Republicans in control of the House and Senate for another 2 years. Turning now to your local election headquarters, and 3 weeks out from the Iowa caucus, there's now one less Democrat in the race for president. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker announcing today he's dropping out of the race. He says it was a difficult decision to make, but he didn't have the financial backing to continue. Booker also says impeachment proceedings in Washington will keep him from campaigning. There are now 12 Democrats running for president. 6 of them will be on the debate stage tomorrow night in Des Moines. They include former Vice President Joe Biden, Senator Bernie Sanders, Senator Elizabeth Warren, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, businessman Tom Steyer, and Senator Amy Klobuchar. Meanwhile, the latest poll in Iowa by the Des Moines Register and CNN shows Sanders taking the lead in Iowa. He has 20% support, followed by Warren with 17%. Buttigieg has 16% support. That's followed by Joe Biden. An area nonprofit wants your follow on social media for a good cause. Living Lands and Waters is known for cleaning up the Mississippi River and planting trees throughout the Midwest. The organization's been helping the environment since 1998, and this time it's using Instagram to raise awareness. New followers will have a tree planted in their honor. Local 4's Carla Sosa joins us now in the studio with more on that. Carla?
Living Lands and Water started its campaign in January and already has 3,000 new followers. The nonprofit organization hopes this will help people be more aware and take care of the environment. Living Lands and Waters is always trying to find new ways to bring awareness, and they feel that by getting new followers on Instagram, it will help their cause. The goal is to plant oak trees throughout the Midwest.
We wanted something to drive us to plant more trees. And just having a bigger voice and having more people know that we're out there, you know, doing river cleanups and tree plantings just feels really great.
Living Lands and Waters will start planting trees in April. In the studio, Carla Sosa, Local 4 News.
Looking forward to see how that project turns out. Carla, thank you. Also looking forward to what it'll be like outside when they finally do get to planting some of those trees.
I was thinking you were going to say spring or something along those lines.
Be nice, right?
Not quite there yet. It was above average, though, at least for the middle of January today, but still an active weather pattern here over the next few days. So another chance for rain and snow comes in tonight.